Precious Remedies Against Satan's Devices by Thomas Brooks. Copyright 1652, this edition 1968. Satan's devices to draw the soul to sin. Now the second thing I am to show you is his several devices, and herein I shall first show you the several devices that he has to draw the soul to sin. I shall instant in these 12 what may be bespeak our most serious consideration. Device number 1: to present the bait and hide the hook. To present the golden cup and hide the poison. To present the sweet, the pleasure, and the profit that may flow upon souls by yielding to sin, and by hiding from the soul the wrath and misery that will certainly follow the committing of the sin. By this device he took our first parents. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not certainly die, for God doth know that in that day you eat thereof, your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Genesis 3:4 and 5. Your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods. Here is the bait, the sweet, the pleasure, the profit. Oh, but he hides the hook, the shame, the wrath, and the loss that would certainly come. There is an opening of the eyes of the mind to contemplation and joy, and there is the opening of the eyes of the body to shame and confusion. He promises them the former, but intends the latter, and so cheats them by giving them an apple in exchange for a paradise, as he deals by thousands nowadays. Satan with ease puts fallacies upon us by his golden baits, and then he leads us and leaves us in a fool's paradise. He promised the soul honor, pleasure, profit, but pays the soul with the greatest contempt, shame, and loss that can be. By a golden bait he labored to catch Christ, Matthew 4:8 and 9. He shows him the beauty and the bravery of a bewitching world, which doubtless would have taken many a carnal heart. But here the devil's fire fell upon wet tinder, and therefore didn't take. These tempting objects did not at all win upon his affections, nor dazzle his eyes, though many have eternally died of the wound of the eye, and fallen for ever by this vile strumpet, the world, who by laying forth her two fair breasts of profit and pleasure have wounded their souls and cast them down into utter perdition. She has, by the glistening of her pomp and preferment, slain millions, as the serpent Scytho, which, when she cannot overtake the fleeing passengers, does with her beautiful colors, astonish and amaze them, so that they have no power to pass away till she has stung them to death. Adversity has slain her thousands, but prosperity her 10,000s. Remedy. Number 1. First, keep at a great distance from sin and from playing with the golden bait that Satan holds forth to catch you. For this you have, Romans 12:9. Abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good. When we meet with anything extremely evil or contrary to us, nature abhors it and retires as far as it can from it. The Greek word that is here rendered abhor is very significant. It signifies to hate it as hell itself, to hate it with horror. Anselm used to say that if he should see the shame of the sin on one hand and the pains of hell on the other, and must of necessity choose one, he would rather be thrust into hell without sin than to go into heaven with sin. So great was his hatred and detestation of sin. It is our wisest and our safest course to stand at the farthest distance from sin, not to go near the house of the harlot, but to fly from all appearance of evil. Proverbs 5:8, 1 Thessalonians 5:22. The best course to prevent falling into the pit is to keep at a greatest distance. He that will be so bold as to attempt to dance upon the brink of the pit may find by woeful experience that it is a righteous thing with God that he should fall into the pit. Joseph keeps at a distance from sin and from playing with Satan's golden baits and stands. David draws near and plays with the bait and falls and swallows bait and hook with a witness. David comes near the snare and has taken it in, to the breaking of his bones, the wounding of his conscience, and the loss of his God. Sin is a plague, yea, the greatest and most infectious plague in the world. Yet, how few are there that tremble at it, that keep a distance from it. 1 Corinthians 5:6. Ye know not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? As soon as one sin is seized upon Adam's heart, all sin entered into his soul and overspread it. How hath Adam's one sin spread over all mankind? Romans 5:12. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passeth unto all men, for that all have sinned. How does the father's sin infect the child, and the husband's infect the wife, and the master the servant? The sin that is in one man's heart is able to infect a whole world, and it is of such a spreading and infectious nature. The story of the Italian who first made his enemy deny God, and then stabbed him, and so at once murdered both body and soul, declares the perfect malignancy of sin. And that what hath been spoken upon this head may prevail with you to stand at a distance from it.